Hello. My name is Max Arroyo. I'm a student here at UWF, and I will be taking you through my UniMeet app project um, that I did last semester ago for Senior Design Studio. And so this is the project that I did. So essentially, the task of this project was to find a design problem and create a visual solution to that problem. And initially, we had to come up with 5 ideas, and so I ended up landing on my fifth idea, which was essentially to create an app for incoming new UWF students to familiarize themselves with the Pensacola area. So it's be mainly for students, that non-local students, basically, to get to know Pensacola and the campus. So to give them information about events happening on and off campus, and for where to find it, etc. And of course, the app would have, we intend to have the colors and logo into it as well. For my ideation phase, I began collecting and looking at images and forming a mood board. As you can see here, some images that I had looked at for the project. So I had later found this site that is from UWF, also more or less. Has like it lists events and dates, and so it helped me kind of formulate a plan into what kind of information I put into it. So it was a bit useful in that regard as well. Later I went inside what kind of information I wanted to put into the prototype of Adobe XD, which was what I was working on. And so this is all the categories and all the information that I decided to put into it at the time, right here. These are some preliminary sketches that I did at the beginning, trying to figure out how the icon, the logo, would look when it end up looking, basically. And these are two initial iterations for the icon that I did. The first one was certainly not my favorite, but I definitely liked more the second one, and that's basically what I decided to settle on for the project. And these are some images that I looked at for reference on my iterations for the logo / icon, basically. Later, I also looked at some images that were kind of related to what I was doing, more or less, or something similar. Here has like an orientation. What I'm doing is a bit different, but it's kind of similar, same spirit, more or less. And so, like, looking at the interface and that kind of stuff, kind of helped a little bit, and for me to imagine what I would end up creating for my app. And also from that, I also created a flow chart to get some organization into my thought process as well, and which I also received feedback, and so I modified it a little bit. Whereas initially had a home screen and a menu screen, which is kind of redundant, I suppose. Later changed to just a loading screen, and then the main menu screen, which can take you to all the other individual screens with the information on there as well. And also intended to include a frequently asked questions section, which I did not initially include in the flowchart at first, but I got that from the feedback from my peers, so I decided to put that in there as well. And here's I began to make some low fidelity wireframes, as you can see. Here they are, and they would have like the drop down menus as well. And this image in particular that I had showed earlier as part of the mood board also served a little bit as inspiration for at least some of the sections that I created for my app as well. And also from the feedback from my professor, I was advised to decide on a set dimensions for my prototype on Adobe XD that I was using. So I ended up using the iPhone 14 Pro Max the phone dimensions on my prototype. Also, originally I was going to use the Montserrat and Open Sans typefaces for the project. However, I decided that it would be a better idea to opt for the typefaces displayed here. I took this image from a UTBF page, publicly available, and I used mostly Gotham Book and Gotham Bold, as well as Helvetica 47 like condensed on the home screen. That displays different informations to look at. So this is what I kind of used to guide myself for the typefaces on my project. And so this was basically the high fidelity wireframes, or the screens that I ended up creating at first. Here would be the icon or the logo that I created for the app itself, which is what it would look like on a person's phone. This would be the loading page that will last for a few seconds, and then this is to the home that different pages with information, and this is for the frequently asked questions. And so this is the screen. It has all the different pages of information as well. And if you toggle to the arrows, they take you from one screen to the next, and then back to home as well. Here, as you can see, it has the drop-down menus that a user can toggle on here. Right here, you have it, as you can see. Later on, I got some feedback from the professor, and it was pointing out how the accordion style that I used for the drop-down menus wasn't very well implemented. So I later did some revisions for that, as well as took into consideration some feedback that I also got from a peer a semester later time. So the feedback that I did receive was pretty useful in improving the project as it already was, and making something better as well. And the first two screens were left pretty much the same, as I didn't see any problem with them. But then the rest of the project, as you can see, is quite different. I think it adds more vibrancy to the project of it overall, and it managed to keep the viewer's attention. And I think it looks more sleek and more minimalist as well. And overall, I think it's, compared to the other version that you saw before, I would say it's probably more aesthetically pleasing for the eye, and has more color as well. I think it improves on the background. And just like before, the arrows take you from one screen to the next, and home back to the home page right here, as you can see. And the drop-down menus are also improved upon as well on here. Just to show a preview of the prototype, as you can see. take to the home page. Frequently asked questions. Toggles the drop down menu, the coordinate style, as you can see. Go here, click. The same for these pages as well. It takes the next one or the previous one. Here it takes you back to home, and here if you click here, it takes you back to this particular page as well. So yeah. So overall, this was the project that I did. Went through several revisions before I ended up being completely satisfied, but overall how it ended up, I would say that I did like a lot how it ended up, and I think that definitely the feedback that I received was very useful. And yes, this was my UniMeet app project, and there it is. Thank you very much.